Save the World Lumber. Tree cycling introduces grooved lumber, iWood. By using the shavings taken out of the grooves to produce other wood products, such as paper pulp and fiberboards, we could reduce the number of trees cut down worldwide by perhaps 20% a year, every year, forever. The trees left standing would continue to be both a carbon sink and a reducer of carbon dioxide for the rest of their natural life, which should be in the 50 to 100 year range. The costs involved removing the shavings are insignificant. The savings for the forest products companies, building companies, and individuals are vast, and they compound every year. Every tree is a complete environmental ecosystem in its own right, ensuring a sustainable world for millions of other entities, at least for the natural life of the tree. Tree cycling, iWood, could save billions of trees as well as millions of ecosystems. Each of these trees left standing will compound in numbers every year and could contribute to an ecosystem that at least resembles, in some respects, one that existed 12,000 years ago. Basically, the iWood idea is that you can utilize wood much more efficiently than is being used at the moment. As for instance, with smaller diameter trees, you can sometimes get one stud out of a small diameter tree. But if you use one of the iWood shapes, and this is the C shape, it looks a bit like a C. Yeah. You can actually get two pieces of the C wood out of one small diameter tree, but you're also cutting the pith out of the center so that the warping and twisting don't matter nearly so much. Two flat bits of wood, there's nothing holding that together. If you have two bits of wood like this, it's locked together, and a bit of chewing gum is almost enough to hold it together. Right. And this also means that the fasteners are slightly smaller, there's less shipping weight, the weight goes down by about 30%, so everything that's produced in iWood is 30% cheaper to ship. It's actually a cross between Lego and IKEA. It's got the IKEA concept, but the Lego clips together. This doesn't quite clip together, but it comes very bloody close to clipping together. Yeah. What we've done is we've started to develop a new concept of how we can use this wood to advantage, to reduce shipping costs, to reduce the amount of wood that is used, to make it easier for people to put together. This is what we're going to be building today. Is that house, that's 8 by 12. And we're going to be, and that's the framework we're doing. We are only building the frame. We're not talking about the rest of the building. We're only talking about the frame. Like a puzzle. Everybody loves a puzzle. And this is the puzzle. Well, once you get to understand it, it's a creative puzzle, and it's a permanent puzzle. It's a carbon sink until Antiques Roadshow gets onto the bandwagon. Now in my 80s, and I'm still just as excited about it when I was first came up with the idea some many years ago. So what I'd like to do next is just take you to show you where the lumber is manufactured. The first shop is a shop that actually cuts the wood to shape, and so the machine runs at about 66 feet a minute to produce these shapes, starting with 8-foot lengths. There are actually only about 24 different pieces that are required to frame the whole house. The house we're building is going to be 10 by 12, and it's exactly the right height to sit on a low bed trailer, so it can be moved around. IKEA realized that if you make things in modules, you can make them exactly the same size every time, and you can repeat that, and people can put it together very easily. Making component parts for building houses is far more efficient. It's possible to produce this product at reasonable quantities using wood from the big houses, and it's possible for somebody to make money converting the longitudinal pieces from 2x4s to 2C4s to I4s. That's the different shapes we're talking about. If they have the component parts, like IKEA component parts, you can just load it onto the truck like we're doing here, pre-cutting the component parts. So on the actual job site, all we're going to really need is an electric screwdriver to put the whole house together. And it's going to take probably 2 or 3 hours to get it to the point where the siding goes on and then roofing is longer. But we are only interested in making the framework. The house we're making could very easily be insulated well above the standard requirements. Basically, that's got about 30% more insulation. Paying for energy for that house, it also reduces the amount of oil that is being used to heat the house. So you're saving the customer money, reducing the fuel usage, and then we're also ending up using 30% fewer trees. Basically, there are 1 million homes plus a year built in the States. And if you save $100 of every home, that's $100 million this year, and that compounds, and then you put the gas savings in, that's probably another $100. And then if we can use 3 trees for each house rather than 4 trees for each house, the figures are utterly astounding. You add those up every year, it's going to come to about $1 trillion very easily by 2050. We're interested in instant gratification, and if we cannot buy something off the rack, it's very hard to sell it. We've now got to somehow show people that this is viable and attractive and can show the benefits of both IKEA and Lego, where we've got pre-cut component parts that tend to snap together and make it easier for totally unskilled people to put their own units together. Hopefully, they're going to realize that it is so simple to use this and so much fun. They can build a tiny house exactly the size they wanted. It has taken 30 years to get to the point where we are at the moment. We still have no contractors making the product, and it's a big jump to change an industry. The industry is very, very hidebound with rules and regulations. We have to get people excited about the product and realize what the savings are and the potential are of getting more people involved, more people interested in wood.
When I was first introduced to this new system, I saw this wood and I said, oh, a replacement for lumber. But this isn't a replacement for lumber, this is a replacement for an outdated system of building. One of the best parts of this project is you can take it apart like we're about to do shortly and put it back into a box so that somebody else can put it together somewhere else.
And it was very simple. All the cuts can be made on a drop saw. There's only 2 different angles, and put 4 marks on your saw bench and you don't even have to use a tape measure. So
I've seen how this saves a lot of wood. I've seen how this saves money because of the insulation. And I've seen how it's easy even for a non-electrician like myself to run the wires. You can run the hose, do the plumbing and electric.
I was really impressed with how fast we put this thing up with none of us knowing what we were doing. And then anybody could put it together just like you're a IKEA guy.
they have double the structural integrity. The amount of wood you're saving in the environment, I think that's really interesting.
My concept is that we can start to show people that there is an alternative to traditional building, and the system works as just as well framing anything, framing furniture, framing little tables, and so if we can get people understanding how the wood goes together.
I give it my official stamp of approval.
For more information, visit www.treecycling.com or contact Chris at christopher.r.scott@gmail.com.